Good morning, Jubilee community. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you here. It's so good to, oh my gosh, we've got Jenny and Andriette and David and all Georgiana, so many amazing Jubilants. So glad you're here. It is another beautiful and somewhat potentially hot and muggy day in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Welcome to another online Jubilee celebration. While we can't be meeting in person and give those lovely warm hugs and hellos, we can definitely do the best we can online. So here we are. If you're able to turn on your video, it's really helpful so we can see each other and get that sense of connection. And remember to utilize the chat feature so you can say hi to people as we are going through our celebration today. We use it several times throughout the celebration. And remember to stay on at the end for our breakout rooms, which are some of people's just favorite part of the celebration. If you are new to our lovely celebration, we're so glad you're here. Please introduce yourself in the chat so we can say hello. And if you're not new, oh my gosh, we're so glad you're here because you are the Jubilee community. So today we celebrate challenge. I imagine some of you have felt challenge in your life before. Maybe you're feeling it right now, the last few months. We've got just the challenges of the unknown, challenges of change, challenges potentially of finances, challenges of injustice and waking up to our contribution of that. Challenges with being with your kids all the time, or your partner all the time, or at home all the time. Challenges with masks, challenges with so many things. And there's this African proverb that says, smooth sailing does not make skillful sailors. So this idea that if we're not challenged, we don't know what we can become, that there actually might be incredible purpose in challenge for our growth and evolution and for creating needed change as well. But I wonder, can we have too much challenge? Can the system be overwhelmed by challenge? Can challenge sometimes be assigned to surrender? And if we do surrender, if we don't succeed in overcoming challenge, is that okay? So it seems to me challenges have their challenge, and knowing when to rise to meet them, and knowing when to let go, and knowing when to rely on our own strength, and when to rely on the strength of something so much bigger than ourselves. So today we explore challenge. We might ask ourselves what we are willing to be challenged by. Are we willing to be challenged by love, equality, compassion, truth, righteousness, health, community, connection, autonomy, service, equanimity? What are the things we're willing to show up and be challenged by? So with that, let's awaken our souls. Daniel.
Here we go, sing out so it can be heard by your neighbors. Awake, my soul. Awake, my soul. Awake, my soul. You were made to meet your maker. You were made to meet your maker. You were made to meet your maker. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Jubilee clap, online clap.
The Jubilee online clap.
Good morning, Jubilee. I was challenged this morning by missing out on all of us gathering, so I brought up my Jubilee name tag and going to wear it online today because to overcome that challenge. I have a Cherokee elder. She told me one time that perhaps the first challenge we ever encounter in life is choosing to leave the womb and comforts of mother. Mm-hmm. And choose to step into that light and take that first breath of life. Perhaps that's our first challenge, where we find this comfort zone inside the womb and being developed in an innocence. And then all of a sudden, we don't know it, but 9 months later, here we go. So to return to innocence sometimes means a return to remembering that primal instinct that we have as spiritual beings having a human experience upon this earth, that that may be the challenge, is how do we walk through this life to be on the other side and to be that leadership, to be that energetic voice that is the wind and the echoes of the past and the future. And whether that's a challenge or whether that's just life, I'm happy to experience it. So with that, let's face to the east. Oh, spirits of the east, we thank you. We thank you for lighting a path for us so that we might make the decisions in life that will guide us to the greatness that we see ourselves in as a people of this earth. Facing a future that's uncertain, we ask you to continue to light that path for us. So whatever challenges may arise, we are all connected to the same light and the same vibration, and help us to meet these challenges as one people, with one heartbeat and one breath. In a good way, ancestors, we ask you to come and be with us and stand with us in this moment, a challenge, in a good way. Oh, face to the south, please. Oh, spirits of the south, to all the living beings of the water nation, thank you. Thank you for the challenges that arise in the flows and the ebbs and the tides of life. Thank you for coming and helping us to steady those waters at times when we can find the balance and harmony in our own hearts and spirits. Help us in our spirit to walk upon this earth and all the things and challenges and turmoil, the things that might be going on. We ask you to help us as not only a human race, but all life of the earth. We ask you to continue to nurture us in a good way. We come to you in a good way. Thank you for receiving us and loving us. Oh. Face to the west, please. Oh, spirits of the west, we thank you for the wind. We thank you for the voice that is the vibration and the echoes of our ancestors of the past. We thank you for all the beauty and the language that is spoken by nature whenever the wind comes and touches the earth. We thank you for your greatness, and we thank you for the challenge that is given to continue to take the next breath. We come to you in a good way and offer ourselves in a humble and compassionate and integral way, and ask you to lift us up to only the places the wind knows to go in a good way. Face to the north. I actually just realized I was talking to the wind nation in the west, so that was a challenge. Oh, spirits of the north, thank you. Thank you for the wind now that's come. In a good way, in a humble way, I come to you and say that in the challenges that we're reaching and approaching upon in this life, the uncertainty, we ask you to gently comfort us in these moments and help us to connect as one breath and one people of this earth, to carry our voice forward for not only the ancient past, but also for the ancient future. We ask you and know that we come to you in a good way. Take a deep breath. Look inside, outside, wherever it is that you look. Oh, spirits of the universe, ancestors, we ask you to hear us in this moment. Hear us and know that if there's a little bit of panic or uncertainty in our voice, know that there's a lot of challenge going on in this earth right now. And we ask you, ancestors, to give us the strength to breathe the next breath and meet the next challenge, and help us to do it side by side and as one people. We come to you and we honor you with love, compassion, honor, and integrity, and in a good way with a humble heart. Daniel?
Thank you, Yona. As we take all of that heartfulness and perspective. Let's sing this song, appreciating the challenges within it and the opportunities to say yes, and the ways that we feel that challenge so that we can know that we're on our path. So this is a Holly Near song. I invite you to sing it in a different way than you usually do on Sunday mornings. By that I mean, look for a little bit extra courage, look for a little bit of extra volume, look for a little extra willingness to step into some place that may feel a little bit unknown to you. That's what we're being called to, is into the unknown, so that we can do the work that we have to do. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. When you're singing, and as you're singing, there's a link in the chat so that you can give some of your resources, some of your blessing to others. There's several ways. We're creating all kinds of different ways to do that these days. You can give by text, you can give by link, and Jackie, what else is there? What other ways? There's a new way to
you can text, you can go online, or you can download an app. All those are
download an app. Yep. Put a zip code in there, 28801, pick out Jubilee, and share some of your blessing with others. As you sing, we are young and old together, and we are singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. So sing so your neighbor can hear you in all the ways. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our lives. We are a peaceful, loving people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a peaceful, loving people, and we are singing for our lives. Let's sing that first verse again. We are a gentle, angry people. That's such an interesting combination, isn't it? A gentle, angry people. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, I'll do this.
Okay. You'd go.
So, yes. So now is when we enter into the gifts. Like Jubilee, we celebrate creativity and the creative force. And it's a really big part of what we're about. and celebrating our great gladness. And so Jim Taylor is offering a gift today. He is on Facebook watching us. So everyone wave to Jim. Hi, Jim. We love you. So he has some wonky internet. So he taped his gift and sent it to us, and he can't be on with us today. But we welcome the amazing, lovely, talented, inspiring, so incredibly funny, and huge baseball fan, Jim Taylor, to our celebration today. Oh, hello, we can't hear that. Hello, speaking of overcoming challenges, technical challenges are always a thing these days.
That is funny.
Good morning. Do you remember flying, airplanes? Well, several years ago, I was flying to Boston, and I was driving to the Asheville airport, and the rain was pouring down, and the sky was black, and you could see lightning in the distance. Did not seem like a good day to fly. While I was waiting in the terminal, I kept seeing that scene from that old Twilight Zone episode where the guy's a passenger in the plane and he looks out the window and there are gremlins like ripping stuff off the plane. Anyway, as soon as the plane took off and we got up above the clouds, everything was great. The sky was blue, the sun was shining. It was a beautiful world. So I wrote this song. These dark clouds and all this rain falling on me. There's a bright sun shining, the sky so blue, if only we could see. Deep in your sadness, there's a truth wants to be found, and I know sometimes I seek it, but then sometimes I turn back around. But it takes light to cast a shadow dark as the light is strong. There's a light here between us, and it's been here all along. And high above these dark clouds, all this rain falling on me. Well, there's a bright sun shining and the sky so blue, if only we could see. If only we could see. If only we could see. Have a good day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yay. I love you here, Jim. It's looking good, looking good. COVID's doing well.
Thank you, Jim. Hope you enjoyed seeing yourself on. Breathe deeply. If you follow your truth down the road to peace and the affirmation of love, if you shine like a beacon for all to see, then the poetry of the great dreamers is yours to manifest in a nation, in a world community, and a beloved community that is finally at peace with itself. These are the words of a challenger, a man who called on all of us in these great words to make good trouble. To make good trouble. Those are Jubilee words. If following our truth is so darn easy, why is it such an often repeated mantra? A charge to keep from civil rights icons like our now beloved ancestor, like Laura Collins calls him, John Lewis. Shining like a beacon is hard for all to see. Shining like a beacon for all to see is hard. But for us to grow, we don't take up these easy things. This community, Jubilee, we know that. This community, Jubilee, is living that. So in that spirit, I ask you to take up your candles, your bowls, your bells, your loved ones, and your blessed solitude, and enter the spirit of prayer, the spirit of holy challenge. During this time, know that you are the inheritance of heroes. You may pray with Barbara, Jackie, Daniel, and friends in the group chat. We can be heroes. Just for one day. And one day, turns out, changes the world. Breathe deeply. Daniel?
Thank you, Jay. Beautiful. So here's an opportunity for us to sing together and to also share your joy and your blessing with each other in the chat. As if you're walking around the room, finding people and giving them a good hug. Let's sing. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. All right, say hi to folks in the chat. It's in every one of us. I just remembered, it's like I've been sleeping for years. I'm not awake as I can be, but my seeing's better. I can see through the tears. I've been realizing that I bought this ticket, and and watching only half of the show. There is scenery and lights and a cast of thousands who all know what I know. And it's good that it's so. Here we go. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. It's in every one of us by and by. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're not done with me yet.
There's more.
There's more.
There's always more.
Let's talk about Barbara Brady for a minute. Barbara Brady,
Yes.
you're the embodiment of a divine, juicy life. Barbara is the embodiment of compassion, of friendship, and courage. I've had the honor and pleasure of being with Barbara at the Western Wall for I don't know how long, and I just don't count years anymore. Barbara Brady has spiritual cojones. That is a Jubilee principle if there ever was. One of my first and most impressionable experiences with Barbara was her excitement building up to and her return from her pilgrimage of the Camino de Santiago in Spain, and her gathering where she shared her traveler's tales, and if I remember correctly, her traveler's food, because that wouldn't be Barbara Brady without something delicious. Pilgrims to me are among the most essential members of a community. It is essential that we nourish them so that they may nourish us from their travels along the way. They may not be permanent, just as that dazzling comet overhead is with us but for a few days, but its awe is deeply impactful, perhaps for a lifetime. Maybe you see where I'm going with this. Barbara, you are our dazzling comet, our brave pilgrim. You have made our lives more divine, more juicy, and more loving through your wise eyes, open heart, and just right, passionate smile. Now the road is beckoning again. You've made it clear that you're ready for an adventure. You deserve every blessing because you've given us every blessing. So in a few words, if you wish, tell us what's happening here.
Well, Jay, I'm really grateful for that beautiful tribute. And can you hear me all?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much. Very grateful, very honored. And it's been such an honor to work with Jackie and Jay and Daniel over these past 4 months in co-leading Jubilee. And I've just been feeling called as of late to do my own ministry with Divine Juicy Life, and what that will look like and when it will be in a ministry format remains to be seen. So I started with a Facebook group. So anyway, I'm just excited. I've been feeling called, and I'm stepping into the unknown, and I'm sure there will be challenges along the way, but it feels right. It feels good. And I'm so grateful. I love this community. I'll always love this community. I'll be back here and there. And so grateful for all the gifts in being able to be with you all these past 4 months in this way and work with amazing people. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Barbara. So Jubilee community, you may not be able to stand and hold hands in a circle. So Barbara, we're going to get a little Baptist on you. We're going to do this TV preacher style. Barbara, I want you to feel the rush of energy coming through you and towards you for guiding and filling your sails. So Jubilee, put your hands on your screens and repeat after me. God bless you, Barbara Brady.
God bless you, Barbara Brady.
Reverend Barbara Brady.
Reverend Barbara Brady.
Thank you for making life divine and juicy.
Thank you for making life divine and juicy.
We promise to keep it that way.
We promise to keep it that way.
We promise to grow from your lessons.
We promise to grow from your lessons.
As long as you promise not to be a stranger.
As long as you promise not to be a stranger.
Once a jubilant, always a jubilant.
Once a jubilant, always a jubilant.
May you savor maple syrup slushes made with snow.
May you savor maple syrup slushes made with snow.
And may you savor also the divine juicy life wherever you go.
Yeah, that. Savor divine juicy life wherever you go.
Know that there are zero limits on love.
Know that there are zero limits on love.
Thank and God bless you, Barbara.
Thank and God bless you, Barbara.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, everybody.
Blessings onward.
Blessings.
All right. Oh, yeah, you're still not done with me.
No. Still up, Jay. Still up.
I invite you to hear these ancient words from 2 Corinthians. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weakness, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. From Tao Te Ching, chapter 22. Hulk to be whole, bend to be straight, empty to be filled, wear down to be renewed, reduce to gain. Excess confuses. Therefore, the sage embraces the one and is an example to the world. She does not show off, therefore she shines. She does not justify herself, therefore she is revered. She does not boast, therefore she is honored. She does not praise herself, therefore she remains. Because she opposes no one in the world can oppose her. The ancients said, Hulk to be whole. Are these just empty words? Indeed, she shall remain whole. This is ancient wisdom and holy word. Thanks be to all that is wise and holy. All creation is wisdom and holy word. All creation sings of wisdom and God. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So now, without further ado, I'm very pleased to introduce a very familiar face, a very warm face, a very welcoming face, Laura Collins. Her message on challenge today is deeply welcomed, and I can't wait to hear it. Laura, take it away.
Thank you, Jay. Hallelujah. And thank you, Barbara, for all the love you've brought to us and will continue to in new ways. And thank you. Wow, just the music today has been great and really touching to me in so many ways. So here we are. We are in the middle of summer, halfway between Memorial Day and Labor Day. Not that these dates really have any meaning for us this year, but we're in that time of summer fullness. Trees completely leafed out, tomatoes turning red. I'm already getting tired of zucchini. And in creation spirituality, these are the days of the via positiva, the positive path toward God. Matthew Fox says that the via positiva is captured in moments of awe and wonder and delight. And the theme for this year's Via Positiva is saying yes. And who doesn't want to say yes to awe and wonder and delight? And so far, you've heard about saying yes to play, saying yes to exploration, saying yes to curiosity. And today, when I'm back with you, we get saying yes to challenge. Thanks, team.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You got this. You got this.
But okay, let's do this. Let's say yes to challenge. And everything this morning has just led perfectly into this. As I see it, there are basically two kinds of challenge. Those we set for ourselves and those we don't. Now, I'm guessing I am not the only one here today who is paying for 1 month of Disney Plus so that I can watch Hamilton several times. And while I've got it, I figure I need to get my full value of that $6.99. So I've watched some other movies as well. And Free Solo is a movie I watched this week about the kind of challenges that we set for ourselves. It's a documentary about Alex Honnold, who is the world's foremost rock climber. He climbs the most daunting rock faces on earth, literally, without any equipment. No ropes, nothing, just his fingers and his feet and his wits, if he has any wits. I mean, it's insane, really. It's just absolutely insane. And if you like getting totally stressed out while watching a movie, I guess I could recommend it. But my point is, the challenge of climbing straight up 3,000 feet of granite with no ropes is something one chooses. You don't have to do that. Nobody has to do that. Now, the challenge you choose for yourself may not be documentary worthy. Maybe you're training for a 5K or learning a new skill like, hey, baking sourdough bread, which everyone but me seems to be doing this year, or working to heal an important relationship. We generally choose challenges because we have an area of our life that we want to strengthen, a perceived weakness we want to improve. In the reading from Corinthians today, we heard that God's power is made perfect in our weakness. I think that needs a little unpacking. So Paul is the apostle who wrote this letter to the Corinthians, as he did most of the letters that are found in the traditional New Testament. And in this chapter, Paul had been trying to explain some of these amazing, powerful spiritual visions that he'd received, which were the basis for his advice and counsel to the young faith community. And Paul has been given these great spiritual gifts, but he tells us that at the same time, he was given what he calls a thorn in the flesh that he can't get over. Now, we don't know what that thorn was, but it was something that caused him a lot of grief and really, he felt, slowed him down. Whether it was a physical or mental infirmity or something else, he says that because he could never overcome it, it kept him from getting too arrogant about his spiritual gifts. And he came to realize that it wasn't the strength of the gifts that set him apart, but his awareness of the way God worked in him, not in spite of his weakness, but actually through it. One translation reads, "At first I didn't think of it as a gift and begged God to remove it. 3 times I did that, and then God told me, my grace is enough. It's all you need. My strength comes into its own in your weakness." And once I heard that, I was glad to let it happen. I quit focusing on my handicap and began appreciating the gift. Sometimes our challenges appear in the midst of joy. Our weaknesses and strengths are intertwined. Our gifts and shadow are inseparable. When I was 29, it looked like my life was going exactly right. I had finished graduate school. I'd landed a great job. I was engaged to be married. But in the midst of this outer reality, I sank into a deep depression. And it was like this heavy black curtain just fell in the middle of the first act of a play. I had to take a month off work. I could barely get out of bed most days. I rarely remembered to make myself eat something. And I just really had lost hold of why we even had a reason to be alive, or at least why I did. In the years that followed, I would come to realize that those months I spent in the darkness were like the next level graduate education that I needed to become the kind of minister that I think God intended me to be. More compassionate, gentler, more gracious with myself and other people. I became a better minister, not in spite of my depression, but exactly because of it. Sometimes the challenges we face appear to be the end when they're really just a new beginning. David White's poem, The Journey, says it this way: "Sometimes, with the bones of the black sticks left when the fire has gone out, someone has written something new in the ashes of your life. You are not leaving, you are arriving." Matt Kahn, in his book, Everything is Here to Help You, asks, how would my life change if each moment were an evolutionary gift to be received instead of a karmic punishment to escape? I'm going to say that one again. How would my life change if each moment were an evolutionary gift to be received instead of a karmic punishment to escape? So when faced with challenges, we have choices. Do we power through or do we back off? Do we see it as a strength-building, character-improving opportunity? Or do we see it, as Jackie asked at the beginning, as a sign that maybe we're headed in the wrong direction? Some challenges really are part of that journey, sort of the hero's journey, to get us to a new place, to stretch us, to grow us, to invite us to use muscles, physical or spiritual, that we're going to need for the work ahead. They're like the friction that polishes the gemstone. Albert Einstein even said, "It's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer." Some struggles shape us in ways that we'll miss out on if we quit too soon. It's like we're almost up the mountain path, but we turn around before we get to that amazing view. Some challenges, though, are God's roadblocks. They're a warning system, flashing red lights, telling us that we might want to turn around and find a different path. And these challenges remind us to stop struggling so much, to try a new direction. It was sort of like the reading from the Tao today. That second kind of challenge may be saying, instead of pushing the river, just relax and get in the flow. So when we're in the midst of that struggle, how do we know which is which? Should we take the the challenge is a sign to surrender our striving and just sort of fall into an easier flow? Or is the struggle something worth wrestling with? Kind of like Jacob wrestled all night with the angel and said, I won't let you go until you give me a blessing. So telling the difference requires a lot of discernment. And isn't discernment also a form of challenge? Whichever way we decide the challenge is pointing us, to find our clarity, we have to wake up. And maybe this is the point of all challenges, to wake us up. A disciple asked a Zen master, is there anything I can do to make myself enlightened? And the Zen master said, as little as you can do to make the sun rise in the morning. And the disciple said, well, then of what use are all these spiritual disciplines you keep prescribing to me? And the master just said, to make sure you're not asleep when the sun comes up. So whether the challenge is a sign to let go and turn around or an invitation to rise up and fight through, we need spiritual disciplines that keep us awake to what's going on, to keep us awake to what's going on in our own hearts, to keep us awake to what's going on in the world, or at least to help us wake up again and again and again. So if challenges call us to wake up, I think we can say pretty clearly that 2020 is turning out to be a highly caffeinated year. Marianne Williamson wrote back in 2004, so 16 years ago, our issues aren't coming through in slow, gentle breezes anymore, but in huge torrential storms. And that's not because we're failing, it's because we're available. God knows it, and this is it. This is it. Whew, well, that was 16 years ago, and I guess we haven't really gotten the message, so the storms are getting stormier. Maybe we'll never get it. I mean, 16 years is a long time, right? It's tempting to get tired of the challenges of living in America these days. It's tempting to want to go back to sleep. How do we keep saying yes to challenges? Well, on Friday night, we lost a man who showed us how. Representative John Lewis, recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, died at age 80 while still serving in Congress after 33 years. Lewis was born one of 10 children to sharecropping parents. He was among the original 13 Freedom Riders, those black and white activists who challenged segregated interstate travel laws in the South in 1961. At the age of only 21, Lewis was the first of the Freedom Riders to be assaulted, and it happened just down the road here in Rock Hill, South Carolina. But still, 2 weeks later, he got on another bus and headed to Jackson, Mississippi on another Freedom Ride. And he said, we were determined not to let any act of violence keep us from our goal. We knew our lives could be threatened, but we made up our minds not to turn back. Lewis was a founder and early leader of the Student Nonviolence Coordinating Committee, and they're the ones that coordinated all the lunch counter sit-ins around the country, over here in Greensboro, over in Nashville. Leading demonstrations against racial segregation, he was brutalized by white mobs and by law enforcement both. Yet he claimed, when I was arrested for the first time in 1960, I felt free. I felt liberated. When you lose fear, you find freedom. He was one of the 6 organizers of the 1963 March on Washington, where, Dr. King made his famous dream speech. But Lewis was also a speaker that day, and at age 23, he was the youngest of the speakers. And the speech he gave was a little more direct than Dr. King's. He said, by force of our demands, our determination, and our numbers, we shall splinter the segregated South into 1,000 pieces and put them back together in the image of God and democracy. We must say, wake up, America, wake up, for we cannot stop and we will not and cannot be patient. We cannot be patient, he said as a 23-year-old in 1963, and he was still working on these issues patiently when he died this week. In 1965, you probably know that he led one of the most famous marches in American history. At the front of those 600 people walking across the bridge in Selma, he walked toward the line of waiting state troopers, determined to demand voting rights. On the day that came to be known as Bloody Sunday, a trooper cracked Lewis's skull with a billy club, knocking him to the ground, and then hit him again when he tried to get up. He was asked recently what made him able to face violence year after year, and he said, studying and being trained in the philosophy and discipline of nonviolence. It helped to make me stronger, wiser, and gave me a greater sense of determination. And when he was asked what kept him from becoming bitter, he said, I pray over and over. And I have what I call an executive session with myself where I just self-listen and I say, this is what you have to do. This is what you must say. Do what you can and play the role that you came to play. Do what you can and play the role that you can play. Breathe deeply. So life will send us challenges, whether we're ready or not, whether we choose them or not. And saying yes to challenges requires spiritual tools. And those tools require training. They require discipline. When I find myself complaining about the challenges that I don't like in my own life, I'm reminded of the words of Hafiz, the Sufi poet, who said, if you have not been taking your medicine lately by saying your prayers every day, how can Hafiz seriously listen to all your heartaches about life and God? All the social justice giants like Lewis, all the spiritual giants that we admire and love, they have said yes to challenge. And they faced those challenges with discipline. They had trained minds and hearts. They covered themselves in prayer. They didn't try to free climb up a rock face without knowing where the footholds were first. We are living in challenging times. And it can be emotionally overwhelming to stay awake to all that's happening. I also think these are really exciting times, full of grief and loss. Yes. Full of danger and rage. Yeah. But I believe we are in, as Lewis reminded us, not the struggle of a day or a week or a month or a year, but the struggle of a lifetime. And if you're like me, you might not feel quite up to what the world needs right now. And that's okay. We are building the bridge that we are walking across. And we aren't the first, and we won't be the last. We have guides like Lewis, and we have angels watching over us. We have the ancestors at our backs. And even in our physical isolation, we have each other. Every one of us has been put here on this earth at this moment in history for a purpose. And we're being called to do some big healing. Our own and our nations. Our own and the earth's. Our own and the generational wounds of our families. When we heal, the earth, the world gets a little healthier. And sometimes we heal by stepping beyond our own concerns and facing the challenges of the world together. And maybe this community, this virtual gathering of real people, this 30-year experiment in creating spiritual circle is coming to a new moment of healing. After the loss and sadness and confusion of this year, in the midst of this COVID craziness, maybe this faith community is here on this corner of the earth or the internet at this moment in history to rise to the challenges of the time we find ourselves in. Lewis famously said, "Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble." Necessary trouble. So, challenge is here, ready or not, chosen or not. Saying yes to challenge? Let's do this, Jubilee. Let's make some good trouble.
Oh.
Some necessary trouble. Some God-inspired, spirit-led, prayer-soaked, love-infused, earth-grounded, drumming, dancing, beautiful trouble. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Woohoo!
Wow.
Yay. Oh, Laura. Such a powerful
Thank
message.
you.
It was such a gift to have you join and lead us in celebration. Thank you so much. So, speaking of getting into some trouble,
Speaking of.
there's some trouble for you. We are now moving into our Jubilee in Action portion of the celebration, where we pray with our feet, where we get involved. And I'm starting it with the reminder of what it's like to be a Jubilant, right? So some of you maybe never been to Jubilee, but a lot of you have been in the building when we used to meet together. And just take a moment to think about what Jubilee has meant to you. It's this place to celebrate, to hold hands, to cry, to be inspired, to laugh, to sing, usually very off key, or in 22nd part harmony. We join together in things that matter. And for a lot of people, it also is a place that they sort of heal some religious dogma. And it's this place that we know that we are enough, that at every layer of our being, we are blessed. And look at us now, like we're on this online format. Luke was joining us as he was riding his bike. There's, people in their PJs in bed. There's people from all across the nation joining us. So who knows what we might become? But the one thing we do know is that we have never been able to be here without each and every one of you. You showing up, you bringing your gifts and your contributions as well. So at the end of Jubilee celebrations, we would always pass the bowls around. That was the money that goes to support the organization. So if you are able to and haven't given yet, please consider doing so. You can do it either with the text, which here's the number, if you want to not have to leave the screen. You can also go to the Give Plus app, and you can go online to our website. So there's other ways to get involved with Jubilee right now. And one is just we've always been this place of lightness and joy and humor. We bring that to so much. And so to try to continue that, we're asking you to share your funny home videos, just a minute or two, short video, anything that brings joy and lightness. You can send it to Jubilee, or you can send it to my email address. We also are looking for gifts. So we celebrate creativity. And so we always give 1 or 2 gifts during the celebration where a community member brings their music or song or dance or poetry. So if you want to do that, please let us know. Also, the social justice team is involved with lots of different actions. And one is around elections right now, specifically looking for poll workers. It's going to be more and more challenging to vote potentially this year with COVID. So they're looking for especially younger people to be part of the poll booths. So you can call the Buncombe County or there's a link in the chat if you are in a different county. There's also really How to Be Anti-Racist by Ibram Kendi, I think is how you say his name. He wrote this beautiful book, Anti-Racism. It's a free event tomorrow, so there's a link on the side there. And then on the 20th, there's an event called When Women Gather, United for Positive Change. And it's also a free virtual event. So if you don't know, this is the year, that's the 100th anniversary of women's right to vote, of suffrage. But it really was white women's right to vote. Indigenous women, Black women, other people of color didn't get the vote as women until much later. So there's a panel of women getting together to talk about the history of suffrage and the importance of women in our world as well. So that's also a free event, so check that out. And we're going to continue to look for ways to get more involved, and to help tell us about that, we have the lovely Warren. I'm going to unmute him if you are ready, Warren, to tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Connections team. Are you there? Hello. Warren? I'm going to try one more thing. And if we can't get him, then we'll do it next week. Sorry, Warren.
Not getting connected.
Am I here now?
Oh, there he is. There he is. Okay, Warren. Tell
Okay.
us about the Connections team.
Well, I'm not ready to announce it yet. I was going to do fundraising.
Oh, do fundraising then.
Okay, great. All right. Well, good morning, community. And we are a community. And within our community, we have a whole range of circumstances and things. And I know many people are probably struggling financially, but some of us that are on a fixed income, as I am, are doing okay. And after Bruce told us about the financial situation 2 weeks ago, that our income is down 30% and the budget cuts as we weather the pandemic crisis. He mentioned additional costs, such as hiring an interim minister and so on. And my immediate thought was, I'm one of the lucky ones who has been living okay on a fixed income. And now with COVID-19 staying home, I'm spending less money. I no longer use 10 gallons of gas each Sunday driving the Jubilee. There's much more too. That, spending money for lunch, maybe a movie afterwards, and definitely the hop on the way home. So I'm suggesting we all look at our diminished expenses. Grab a pencil and paper and write them down. Fewer meals out, no movies, shows, shopping trips, parking fees, gyms, salons. And that's only the beginning. There's things like not needing new tires, summer and fall wardrobes, the vacation that's on hold, the cruise ship cancellation. This could be quite a list. Now add up your reduced spending and consider increasing your donation to Jubilee accordingly. Talk this up amongst your fellow Jubilants and share your ideas of expenses you no longer have. And I was thinking, we mentioned the different ways you can donate. I think there's about 7 or 8 at the end of the list. You can still send a check to 46 Wall Street. Even drop your envelope in the mail slot there. I passed the Jubilee on the Jubilant on Wall Street when I was in town a couple of days ago. And so for some people, the extra cost of a stamp, you can add that to your donation. Anyways, that's my idea for fundraising for Jubilee. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. So appreciate that. Daniel, did you have something you wanted to announce too?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Jay, was that you? Someone just texted me, don't forget to announce something. I'm like, what am I forgetting to announce? So anyway, there's lots and lots of ways to support Jubilee, to be involved with Jubilee, and to just get involved with community. So that's a big part of what this community is all about. So thanks for doing that. And with that, we can imagine we are in this beautiful space with tall ceilings and banners on the south wall and a globe in the center. And we bring our gifts to the center and we offer them to the holy whatever name you use for that. And we sing together. So Daniel, just together in our closing song.
The piano went off. We are here. So here we go. So we can turn everybody on, right? We can unmute everybody. There it is. We are here. We are here for all of us. We are here for all of us. That's why we are here. Why we are here. That can be next. We are here. We are sing anyway, all of us. We are here for all of us. That's why we are here. Why we are here. We are here.
Thank you, Daniel. And so we ask ourselves as we go out into our week, how would it change our life if we were act as if God was working through our challenges, that they had purpose, that idea that God's grace is here, bidden or unbidden, that our angels and ancestors are with us? How would it change our life if we traded challenge as this reminder to wake up so we can see the rising sun and get into some good and necessary trouble and play the role that we can play each day and together? Thank you all so much for being here and being part of this community. Stick around for the chat room where we get to have really lovely connections for about 10 minutes or so. And now is when I will unmute all of you and we will have the cacophony of chaos so that we can have at least a little bit of live connection with each other through this. So enjoy your week and enjoy your chat rooms, and we will see you here next week. And be mindful, I'm about to unmute all of you.
Yeah, darling, gonna make it happen. Take the world in a loving embrace. Fire all of the guns at once and explode in space. True nature's child, born to be wild, fly so high. I never want to die. Born to be born to be wild.
Enjoy your chat rooms.
Oh yeah.